Pretty chill day today because we are doing so. Actually, no, it makes me nervous. We're doing something to the 23 WRX. We're putting an ETS J-pipe on it. Now, if you've ever, this is the reason why I'm nervous. If you've ever had an FA20 car, FA20 turbo car, and you go to put a downpipe on, you'll know that the turbo studs like to strip out and the bolts don't always like to come out. Now, I would like to think that Subaru did redesign that because this new turbo flange is only 3 bolt versus 4 bolt, so I think it's gonna be a little bit easier and a little bit more manageable to be able to get that old downpipe out of there. So, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna make the car a lot louder. But we have an AWE Touring on there, which should help quiet it down a decent amount. I want to give a huge shout out to the guys over at Rallysport for sending this over. This is actually a used ETS J-pipe off of one of their shop cars that they had sitting around that they offered to send over. I do want to annotate a couple things. This is a dual catted J-pipe. These are two Jesse cats, whatever you want to call them like that. But these will still, I believe, still throw a P0420 code, which is a catalyst efficiency code. Now, you cannot detune that out of the ECU anymore, so you're going to have to live with it, or you're going to have to find some other way around it. I'm going to live with it for the time being. I have seen some comments on this car, and let me touch on that real quick. I just got in the external sandwich plate, or the external switch for the oil cooler here. I've got the AccuSump already mounted up in the car. I got like the check valves in and things like that. There's just a couple more small things that I need. We have the oil pump, so we're gonna be jumping on the STI stuff as soon as I have all of the oil system components, because I don't want to start videos on that car and then let it sit for a while because I'm missing fittings, missing lines, things like that. So luckily, I'm hoping this install shouldn't be too bad. I already have the quick jack slid under the car, so we're gonna go ahead and lift this thing up, slide down there, remove the underbelly panel, and then we're gonna have to come up here and start disconnecting a couple of O2 sensors, but we can do that after we get the under trim panel off. Quick jacks for the win when I'm not working at the shop. The quick jacks make life so freaking easy, and they make everything so much better. Look at that, they're just going up, and we're up. Now we go down to hit the locks, and boop. Before we start ripping anything off, I feel like a sound test is in order. So this is stock J-pipe with an AWE Touring catback. Too shabby. I don't want to let it run too long because it's going to burn the hell out of my hand. So not too shabby. It's not crazy loud. It's not crazy quiet. We're pulling out the other stuff. So based off of my experience with Subaru under trays, it's probably going to be pop clips, Phillips head clips, and 10s and 12s to be able to get it all off. That's my guess. There's some 10s, there's some 12s, there's some pop clips. You name it, man. It's in here. Oh, they do the little golf ball stuff on the bottom too. There's another one way up there. There we go. Oh, okay. Under tray is off. Is that it? That's it for that too. Look at that. There's our turbo, our J-pipe. On the under tray here, you're going to have 4 pop clips up front. Here, there, there, over there, here, here. Then you've got a whole bunch of miscellaneous ones going all the way around here. And then on the sides, there's gonna be on both sides, you're gonna have one here, here, and then up top, which is gonna be like up in the wheel well area. For the metal skid plate, it's just 4, one in each corner of these legs. You'll be able to see them no problem. And then that exposes our J-pipe right here. So it doesn't look too bad. We've got 1 bolt here, 1 there. That one up there looks like it's gonna be a real pain in the schmeckerdoodle. We got a ground strap here, O2 sensor up there, O2 sensor right here, bracket. This looks a little bit more intimidating. So we'll start by separating the J-pipe here. It looks like it's a 14 there, a 14 there. It's gonna go back to a couple support hangers back there, and then just the connections for the cat back down there. So I don't think it'll be too bad. Let me start pulling off this first J-pipe section. They are coming off, so I mean, that is a good sign, right? They are spinning. All right, so all I gotta do is break them free. It seems like they're gonna come apart pretty easily. So, those 2 are off on this guy. While I'm here, I'm gonna try to hit up at least this turbo stud right here. Oh, don't you bind up on us. I knew it! This is gonna suck. This is straight up just gonna suck. I didn't even grab the tool! Actually, no, I think that's all the mid-pipe bolts. I think we have one support right here, which I'm just gonna pop off real quick. That goes to the transmission. Who at Subaru is tightening all this stuff? I want names. Where's the breaker bar? Can I reach it with my foot? Because somehow I need the breaker bar. There's no need to go that tight. Now, after I get this, I'm curious if I can just slide this out or if I need to remove this panel. If I need to remove the panel, it's not a big deal. Come here, you scallywag. Okay, now I don't know how well this is gonna work, but what I'm gonna try to do here is pop off the hanger. Or maybe I should try to pop it off the catback first. I don't know. There we go. Oh, okay, there we go. Okay, there it goes. There's the rear half of the J-pipe out. Now we're gonna do the fun half, which is the front half, which sucks. And I can already tell you it's gonna suck. Because I think it's gonna pull the studs, and then I think I'm gonna have to go to Subaru and be like, hey Subaru, I need to buy some turbo studs because mine decided to strip out. Because all the J-pipe turbo studs seem to strip out. Why is that? And they're gonna look at me and they're gonna say, I don't know, man. I don't know, those turbo studs are gonna be $6,000 though, because OEM Subaru turbo studs are stupid expensive. They're dumb. So right here, we got our J-pipe rear section. We've got catalytic converter, which is the rear one, which in this case is that catalytic converter. We've got a resonator. You've got the two bolts that hold the rear portion to the catback. You've got one transmission hanger there. And then you've got the two 14 mils that unbolt right there. Now, we gotta worry about getting this piece off, which is gonna suck. So, looks like we have a 10 millimeter grounding strap there. We've got one O2 sensor there, one O2 sensor here, and then the 3 bolts. It feels like it already wants to strip, so this is gonna be a really fun time trying to get out these studs and these bolts. My best course of action is gonna be to remove this O2 sensor if I can, so I'm gonna go up top. I'm just gonna follow this blue wire up, unclip it. This yellow one's pretty easy because it just unclips right back there behind the J-pipe, so we'll undo this 10, we'll undo the O2 sensor there. We'll try to take out this front O2 sensor to give us a little bit more room, and then we gotta start worrying about these 3 downpipe bolts here, which looks like they're absolutely gonna suck. All right, this is when the fun starts. So I just went ahead, I followed the O2 sensor up and unclipped it, so I need to get this O2 sensor out. Because I mean, I'm sure I can get that top bolt out, but it seems kind of silly to do it with the O2 sensor and when the O2 sensor blocks half of it. And that actually came out way easier. I also sprayed the bolts for the downpipe in PB Blaster, so hopefully that helps. But front O2 sensor's out. I might as well just hit this 10 to get the ground strap off. Might as well just do that now. I'm gonna focus on trying to get out the 3 14 mils for the downpipe. I feel like I have a much better path to be able to get one of them now. So I'm about to either make things really bad for myself or real easy. I don't think there's any threads left on that. Yeah, that turbo threads. All right, well there's one. No! No, you son of a. This is why I hate these things, dude. This is the sole reason as to why this was a terrible idea. Who let me do this? I knew it was gonna happen. I knew it, and I did it anyways. Is that completely round? Not necessarily. It's so round, it's never gonna come off now. Looks like I'm driving the STI around for a little while, which is fine. Whatevs. People ask me why I like EJs. That's why I like EJs. You don't get these problems on EJs. Many hours later. There's been a lot of cursing. There's been a lot of cutting. There's been a lot of smacking things and pry barring things, but it's out. Whoever designed this sucks. They suck at designing because what they did was the worst design option I've ever seen. So there's a singular bracket, right? And this singular bracket sits on the top 2 bolts of the turbo, and it's for like a turbo support bracket. However, the problem is they made it one piece. The issue with that is this side that is on the rearmost portion of the downpipe towards the back of the car hits a water pipe. So you can actually see on there where it was rubbing, right about where my thumb is right there. And in order to get that off, I had to somehow snake a 10 millimeter bolt up above the downpipe, get it off. I had to like cut, wiggle, move the heat shield around. It's been a pain. So with this, I'm gonna cut this into 2 pieces because I think this is just stupid and a pain in the ass. So that whole center section, I'm just gonna cut it and remove it. That way it'll still have the downpipe support. But dude, Oh my God, that sucked. I stripped out one of the bolts too, or one of the studs. So I'm actually gonna grab my tap and die kit and see if I can't just rethread it. That'll make my life easier. So here's what we're looking at now. We have our turbo right here. Now these top two bolts right here is where that downpipe support bracket went. It went right like that. And the problem is that it hits this water pipe coming out of the engine, and you have to literally pry it off. It is the worst design I think I've ever seen, because there's one downpipe support that goes to the engine right here, and then the other ones go up here to the main portion of the engine. This is the one that I kind of screwed up and dillied up. The other two, which are the harder two to reach, came out fine, except for this one, the bolt rounded. I had to take off another heat shield that went above it that covers up the belt. Dude, it was a nightmare. Let me grab my die kit and see if I can't recut this thread here. If we can recut it, we'll go ahead and toss the new J-pipe on. If not, I'm gonna have to find a stud, a replacement stud at a dealer and go get it. So it looks like I might be taking the STI out if that's the case. So let me see if I can at least clean this one stud back up. I just went through here and recut these threads. I had to be very careful on that. M10 by 1.25 die all the way down this, just to make sure that we're gonna be able to get a nut on there. Because if I don't have to replace that stud, I really don't want to. The base of the stud, I can see that it's already starting to pull threads out of the turbo, and that's not something I want to deal with. Nut will cinch all the way down the stud now. So that's what we wanted. We're good there. J-pipe, I'm gonna swing it up and on, just like that. Not even all the way, we're just gonna get it semi-tight. Yeah, it does feel a little bit rough going on, but it is manageable. I'm sure the engineers at Subaru had some reasoning for making this a one-piece bracket. However, I'm smarter than they are, so I'm gonna do it better. Go! Look at that. Who's a goofy goober? Subaru is. So now this will all make way more sense, and it will be so much easier to install and so much easier to take off in the event that I ever have to again. So after cutting up your bracket, or after dismantling your entire car, take out the J-pipe and dismantling this bracket and doing everything else, we can start bolting all this back up. How did I cut this? Oh, it goes like that. No, it does go like that. Ah, not crazy. How do you go on? I need to put this one heat shield back on anyways, so I figure now is the best time to do it, since everything is off. And I believe it goes on like so. It goes on like that, and it just kind of protects the belt from the downpipe. So there's two little 10s, one there, one there. They're kind of annoying. They're, you know, I'm not gonna say kind of annoying, they are annoying. Now I can go ahead and slide this guy in here to tighten this down. Get that little heat shield bracket back on for the belt. This little bracket will slide in like that. And then we need a downpipe bolt that I haven't completely mangled. We're gonna loosely put this one on because we need to get the other bracket on first, because there's two brackets that go with this one. Next, you've got this big like U-shaped one, and that is going to go on the engine and then wrap around to that guy. So we're gonna go ahead and just kind of loosely bolt all of these up, so that way they all just kind of line up and go together easily. All right, and then we've got this top bolt that's going to feed through down to that bracket right there. I want to leave those two a little bit loose because now I got to figure out how to get this guy in there. So for everything I've learned going through this, your front O2 sensor, follow the blue wire up down there. It's going to clip in right down there. So you got your blue wire that goes down. That O2 sensor will go here. The rear O2 sensor is the yellow one with the tiny little short thing. It's gonna go right up there. ETS does give you a grounding point for the ground strap on the new downpipe. Now with this, like I said, if you can spray these in PB Blaster and let them sit for a couple days, that would be ideal. Now with our turbo bracket, you guys saw I cut it. So we have that one right there that's been cut, and that's the one with the big black loop piece that loops back to the engine over here. Then you've got 114 on the top that bolts these two together, and that's one turbo support bracket. The other one is right there. So it bolts onto the outside of the flange on the downpipe and then up to the block right there, which is another 14. Now there is this one coolant line right there, that singular coolant line, which gets in the way of the single bracket. You're gonna have to get something in here to pry it out after you have it pried out, you should be able to get off the stock one. But even then, it's still a huge pain. I also removed the heat shield right here that protects the belt from the downpipe. So now that we've got this entire section bolted on, we're gonna go ahead and jump back there and do the secondary section of the downpipe, which will connect the downpipe to the cat back. I may have to dig around for a 3-inch gasket, but I'm sure I have one somewhere. We can get a sound test on this guy and see how it sounds. So far, just letting it get up to temp. For now, I gotta move this thing. Just kidding, she started right up. We're being honest, this thing sounds way better than the WRX. So, WRX is up to operating temp. I'm gonna let it idle for about 10-15 minutes, grab a data log, and then we'll get some revs. We'll go drive it around a little bit. The worst part of that is done, and that was the install. Well, it sounds pretty good, pretty good. So I went ahead and washed the WRX way cleaner now, but overall I'm happy with the way that the car sounds with that J-pipe. I think the J-pipe and the AWE Touring are like the perfect combo. It's not crazy loud. It is a little bit louder, but it's not insanely loud like you'd get out of like a J-pipe with like a straight pipe or even like an ETS Extreme. Those would be just wildly loud. So I think this is the perfect combo. I can't get on the car too hard right now just because we're not completely tuned, obviously, so we don't want to blow it up. But with that, that's all I got for you guys on this one. The 23 WRX or the VB WRX has grown on me so much. It's weird because I used to be so against this car, and now I like it. I like it. I like them. Some people still hate them, but you know, that's all right. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. So with that, that's all I got for you guys on this one. If you liked the video, you know what to do. Go and hit that like button, turn it black, blue, green, that purple, silver sign, whatever color it turns for you. And if you don't like the video, feel free to dislike it. And if you're not subscribed and you want to be, I'll put it in one of these corners. No idea which one quite yet, but with that, I will catch you guys in the next one. So peace out, homies. Woo!